Welcome to the Sports Show. Hope you're tucked away and safe. Put another log on the fire. Patrick Royce, Lavelli Neal, just back from the winter baseball meetings with a lot of light to shed on that. And Sid Hartman. Let's start with an official statement from Sid Hartman pertaining to the Minnesota Vikings today.
Oh boy!
Well, the biggest shock to me.
This is a Bear fan, remember, so be careful.
The biggest shock to me was they had their biggest crowd of the year, with very few no-shows.
Yeah, I was surprised.
If there was any doubt about the interest in that Viking football team, today was the day. I drove down that stadium this morning at 8:30, and even at 8:30, you couldn't move. It was unbelievable.
You mean you couldn't move because of the?
I mean, because of the snow.
Bad roads.
Go 20 miles an hour.
Yep.
And Dave Moen and I were broadcast from there, and there was nobody there. It's amazing. We were saying there's no way half the place will be full today. And I'll be a son of a gun. The place was more full than it's been all year.
There's no place to go other than inside.
Huh?
There's no place to go. They have to go inside and do something.
I thought with their outstate ticket base that they wouldn't be able to convert those people, you know?
Well, you know what? I spent Friday night downtown Minneapolis, and when I checked out of the hotel Saturday morning, a bunch of Bears fans were checking in. I think there was a migration from Chicago. Unfortunately, they left disappointed.
There was, and that's one of the interesting things, Patrick, about the NFL is how teams follow their teams, and boy, there were a lot of Bears fans there today.
Yeah, they come up here. It's a nice, if it's not blizzarding, it's a nice drive for them. They might get an extra night out of those Bear fans.
They sure are. They
That's
came from one of those hotels, yeah.
Hey, there's a group of Chicago policemen in town who watched the game at Allery's today. I'm going to say hello to Vinny and Chachi and the rest of the group at Allery's. They had a blast today. Unfortunately, we lost the game, so.
I saw something.
Uh-oh.
Those loyal Bear fans, they come down to the bottom of the field, to the seats. And before the game, Cutler and several of the players play catch with them.
Really?
With the fans.
Oh, that's cool.
Throwing balls to little kids with them.
They didn't want to play catch with Cutler after the game, after the way he played.
Hey,
it wasn't Cutler's fault. The Bears, well, actually, Cutler needs to be blamed for a couple of interceptions.
Yes.
The Vikings should thank their lucky stars they won that game because the Bears outgained them by more than 200 yards almost, and they had out more first downs, 22-17.
But LaVelle, hold on there. Because one of the reasons they outgain them is if you have an interception return for a touchdown, you don't get a possession. If you get another interception return to the 5-yard line, obviously you don't ever get that possession. You don't need it.
Well, 2 interceptions were huge. The first one, Alshon Jeffrey fell down on a route that led to the first interception. The second one, Cutler overthrew Brandon Marshall, and that one got taken to the house by Harrison Smith, I believe.
Yep, Harrison Smith.
And then we had a drop touchdown pass in the end zone by Jeffrey once again. And Hester had a ball at the 10. We probably would have
wide
ran
open,
in, and he drops the ball.
Touchdown.
Self-inflicted wounds today.
Well,
that's not the way you saw it.
I compare the stats. The Bears had much better stats today, passing-wise in every way, than they had when they won the game. It's amazing.
Yeah, but also when they got behind, of course, they threw a lot.
And the Vikings, once they got ahead 14-0, didn't try to do anything.
I'll give the Vikings
extremely conservative.
I give the Vikings credit. They hit the Bears in the mouth early with the offensive line, dominating the Bears' defensive line and Adrian Peterson. And after that, there wasn't a lot really demanded of them. The Bears made adjustments and kind of held them at bay, but they kept making mistakes.
Adrian Peterson. If there's any better running back than him, I can't believe
he's going to rush for
this guy
2,000
is
yards.
better right now. I talk to him like you do every.
I did after the game today.
He
wants 2,000. You know what he really wants? You know what he really wants? He wants 300 in one game.
He's faster now, he said, than he was before his knee surgery.
Yeah, I mean,
on top of it, he's just a great kid on top of it.
Yeah.
Bears actually did pretty well with him after the first 2 possessions when he popped them for 2 touchdowns and some long runs. And after that, they did pretty well. They had 9 guys in the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. That 28's going to get the ball because Ponder wasn't going to throw deep or do anything like that.
They weren't going to try to do. The Vikings weren't going to try to do anything until the Bears looked like they were going to beat them.
But then the Bears kept
I got to say, though, this Brandon Marshall's a beast.
I know. Well, you know what? It's just a bad matchup. I mean, Jefferson cannot handle Brandon Marshall, and Cutler will throw the ball to Marshall, even if he's double teamed.
Sidney?
Nobody can handle him.
What if Ponder had better receivers?
I ever saw.
I didn't know he was that good until you watched him today.
I got the Vikings solution. Arizona loses 58-0.
See that?
58-0. Give him your first rounder for Larry Fitzgerald. Give him your number. They're going to trade Larry Fitzgerald. Give him a 1 this year and a 2 next year, and
they
get
started
Larry
off 4-0 and have lost 9 straight games.
Yeah, but he'll come here in a heartbeat.
Oh, heck he will.
You think he wants to sit down there and get beat 58-0 by that collection?
And what he told me.
The only thing is he may want to go somewhere where there's a Peyton Manning or a Drew Brees, something like that. Take a break, come back, stay with us.
He'd come home.
JD Hoyt's locally owned, nationally known, perfect for the holiday season. Bring them down there. Bring your office down there. Bring your wife or husband out for a little holiday special.
Oh, man, the holidays.
Take care of it. Perfect. Now, what I keep hearing is, from good sources, is that Percy Harvin, they look at his MRI and his X-ray, and they say, you should be able to play. And he says, well, it still hurts. I'm not going to play. What do you do?
He's got a torn ligament in his ankle, so he can't play. And that comes from a little better source than you got.
I'm just telling you.
Wow, Sid.
Yeah.
I was told the ankle's the least of his problems.
You tell me why they would not let him play. Why would they not let him play?
Because he says he hurts.
They did okay him to practice.
They okayed him, and he said it still hurts.
The doctor did not okay him to play.
But wasn't there reports that the people who actually saw him practice that he did not look good during practice?
He did.
No, the one
I don't know what he accomplishes by not playing. I
don't either.
I prefer to believe he's injured because as much as he liked missing practices and never practice on Wednesday and stuff like that, I think he always wanted to show up on Sunday and put up some decent numbers. So
I just hear the issues are,
Are you kidding? That if he could play, he would be playing.
That's them.
But he is a pain in the rear end.
Why would you then? Okay. Let's just say, let's hold to your theory.
Yeah.
Why put him on IR? Maybe he can play the last game of the year and help you one time, if your theory is true.
Because the doctors told him there's no chance of him playing.
And
there's no chance of him doing all this.
Okay, that's not what I heard, but.
Yeah, my source.
But why would you not at least? Why? Or let's say you make the playoffs and he can get healthy by then.
I'm just telling you.
I know you're just telling me.
Okay.
Let's not get too far.
Said it's a sprained ankle. It's a third-degree sprained ankle. So, and he'd already missed 4 games.
And when there's a sprain, that means some sort of ligaments have already torn. We don't have the severe tears.
Fortunately, Frazier don't have to worry about his job. He's going to be back next year. But if Frazier certainly wants to win these next 3-4 games,
right,
to get a good contract. So if this guy could play, I don't care if he committed Harry Carey, he'd find a way to play him and play.
Well,
so
he
Percy
didn't do
must
that.
have made it clear to somebody.
Sorry, that BS.
So Percy must have made it clear that he wasn't going to play at the end of the year. That's all I'm saying.
I was surprised.
Sid, he's asking you a question. You're shooting him down.
Yeah, because even the playoffs, even if he comes back for the championship game, I wouldn't. It's a 53-man roster.
There's no reason to.
There's a way they can bring him back if he's okay. There's a way they can bring him back.
No, they can't.
In the playoffs.
No, they can't.
Oh, in the playoffs?
No.
I don't know. Actually,
yes, they can.
No, he's on IR.
They're doing it with Chris
Cook.
Cook.
One player back.
Yeah, Chris Cook.
Huh?
Chris Cook is that person that's been designated.
Yes,
he's back.
Percy's done.
I'm just telling you, if he could play, he'd be
Sid, did you hear anything he said?
All right.
Well, what do you do?
this all the
Do you give him the contract or not? Because he's an annoying little fella.
What does the contract look like? What contract would you give him? I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. If you don't give him a contract, you can keep him, but you gotta franchise him, and then you gotta pay him what? What's the top
his position? What's it considered?
Wide receiver
and returner, though. I mean, does he get some other bonus for that?
The wide receiver, that's got to be $10-12 million a year to be one of the highest paid wide receivers, right?
They're going to pay him. I talked to Mark Wolf today. They're going to keep him.
Well, he's an interesting cat, that's for sure.
And Mark Wolf said
he can play.
The guy's
he's finally gotten over the migraines, and he's on the field more, and man, he is something else.
I'm surprised he hasn't at the games, though. He hasn't even been at the games to watch it.
Really? He's not even going to the stadium to watch
he's on the sideline.
People get to. He probably went home to Gainesville.
I thought Sue
You think he's in Florida?
wrote a pretty good column comparing the Moss situation with him. Both kind of goofballs and having great talent. But in case of Moss...
The difference is, though, when you talk to people out there, is Moss got in trouble off the field some, and Harvin hasn't.
Moss was hard to handle.
Hey, how about the NFL? The death count's only 3 in the last 8 days. They've only killed 3 people in the last 8 days. God almighty, what a league.
Josh Brent, he went to Illinois, so I know Josh Brent. He got in trouble for drinking and driving while he was in college.
Yes, he got a DWI.
And there was a story in the paper about how he felt so remorseful for what he did. He was going to change his ways and turn over a new leaf. And look what happened.
They're
That's sad.
young guys with a lot of money and a lot of adrenaline.
The thing about this, I don't get. NFL players, I've talked to people and have told me this, they all have a phone number. The league gives them a phone number. If you need a ride, if you have some sort of issue,
I
you
know,
call this
but
number.
they all think
and
they're
it
good enough not to
and
need
they
a
don't
ride.
do it. And you know what? And the other thing is, what's the minimum salary at NFL? What's the minimum? $500,000 now? $450,000?
I would
My
guess.
goodness,
$450,000.
you can buy a limo and have a guy drive you around.
A lot of them do.
I know
in
you.
fairness.
I know that you want to look bad. Pull up in front of the club with the Bugatti or the Maybach. But come on.
Yeah,
Let's-
but a lot of them do that. I mean, a lot of them do take care of themselves. It's just that
I
there's
agree.
always some.
Yeah,
It's a
you're
big league,
exactly right. Most of the guys are responsible. There's always a couple that make everyone else
No, we
look
got
bad. But
murder,
it's sad.
manslaughter, and suicide in 8 days.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't that something, Sid?
So it happens for football players. It happens to a lot of people. The fact these guys are football players, it gets a big news.
Well, it is a big news when you kill your girlfriend and then commit suicide in the parking lot of your place of employment.
I know it's
That
big
is
news.
big news.
In front of
But
your
there's
coach
other-
and general
How about
manager.
the guy in Hudson? Killed his 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Those
was
are all awful situations.
How about
There's no doubt
how about the
it.
guy that
Those
killed
are all
a
awful
cop?
situations. Now, let's take a break.
Happens all the time.
When we come back, we can talk a little bit about this Gopher basketball team. Are they the real deal? Stay with us. The Sports Show.
When they go.
Yeah, stop on by, see Bruce Boney and the whole green. Carousel Audi. Visit with Charlie. Get into one of those Q7s if you're trying to go through the blizzards. The all-wheel drive is unbelievable today in Minnesota, so check it out. Gopher basketball team has some life.
Well, Southern California has lost 6 straight, so
They're a bad team.
they're not a good team. I mean,
They finished
but
last year,
I
Sid.
think- huh?
Last year they finished 2-22.
I saw Southern Cal here last year against the
2-22.
Gophers.
That
And that might have been the worst team they played
They
all
went
year.
1-19 in
Yeah.
the Pac-10 last year.
They sat back and they let them shoot from 15 feet, and USC couldn't make a basket. I don't know why you can't recruit or Kevin O'Neill can't bring players in there, but they are terrible.
But what
Well-
were you going to say, Sid?
they're going to be a lot better when Mbakwe takes that cast off. That cast is the reason he's not starting. Be interesting. New Year's Eve, they play Michigan State here,
Is that New Year's Eve that night?
Really?
1 o'clock. in the
December
afternoon.
31st.
Will that be
1
on?
o'clock
Will
in
that
the
be on
afternoon.
television?
It'll be on
Somewhere?
TV.
Well,
That'll be
can
on
we watch
TV.
the game? Can we watch the Gophers on television?
Yes, that'll
My
be
goodness.
But the
I know
Big
it's
Ten-
not Norwood's fault, but my God, get the.
Yeah, it is. It's Jim Delaney's fault.
All right, let's get on
Big
Jim
Ten
Delaney.
has got some pretty good teams. Michigan,
They got 4 teams in the top 7 set.
Michigan, Indiana,
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
And I don't know where
And
Michigan
Illinois.
State.
How about
Illinois is
Dan-
not bad either.
The Fighting Illini went into Gonzaga last night and beat Gonzaga, and they were
How
ranked
about
10th.
Dan Munson?
He got crushed by
I
Syracuse,
saw
then
that.
got crushed by Ohio State. Last year he had his team. his
When
seniors.
you're close personal friends, Dan Monson.
That isn't the non-conference schedule he played when he was here. I'll tell you that. He wasn't playing those teams in non-conference games when he was here.
He plays the best. They get pretty good money for going to these places,
Sure.
I'll tell you that.
Sure, Ricky Rubio will probably come back on Wednesday, maybe.
I hope
something.
so. I'm writing for Thursday. I want a,
You need a
I want a
storyline?
nice free column on Ricky
That's an
Rubio
easy one,
coming
yeah.
back.
Of course, right about David Kahn. He gives you stuff to write about.
Yeah.
Wednesday they play?
They play Wednesday.
Wednesday, they think he's going to play, but now Terry Porter ran practice today, and he said, I don't think so. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, and there's no reason, I guess, to push him just to play him for 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, you can sell
Well, yeah.
5,000 tickets if you
right.
tell people that.
That's right.
Lucky
Look at the
Louis got
schedule.
here.
When are we home? Rubio plays that day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
so he can guard somebody.
Adrian Peterson's better than he was before. Maybe we'll see how good Rubio is.
Yeah. Kevin Love, though, the other night, he was talking.
I think basketball might be tougher than football, maybe.
Oh, yeah,
When
he's starting
they-
and stopping all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know about
What
that.
they call that injury when guys get an ACL back when you were running the Lakers? Was just a bad knee and they were done, or what?
Some of those guys played with us.
With an ACL or MCL?
They operated. It's just they cut her open and
And you were just done until whenever.
That's
huh?
when they use a hammer and a chisel, right, Sid?
Yeah.
Huh?
Back in the day.
Harvey
Yeah.
O'Fallon was one of the first, great orthopeds. That,
Was he?
That did that stuff. Yeah.
Who was?
Harvey O'Fallon was one of
Yeah.
the first.
Now, I don't expect you to give any of us the phone number, but pretty good scoop this morning on the radio show. You had a lady on from the Meineke Car Care Bowl. Sounds like this Houston is some
Wasn't
kind of
my idea.
that's a paradise on down there.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is some kind of place.
Yeah. Maybe you ought to go meet him.
Tommy Tuberville.
wait.
Tommy Tuberville was so terrified of playing the Gophers that he quit and went to Cincinnati. He didn't want any part of the Gophers.
What is that? Texas Tech to Cincinnati. Why would that be any better?
He had that thing with the kid. You know, he slapped,
yeah.
slapped
Yeah,
the
he slapped the kid.
assistant, and
Yep.
he was getting. I think he just said, "I'm going to get the hell out of here." Plus, it's Lubbock. Jeez.
Sid and I have been to Lubbock, and you can't say that. It's Lubbock.
It's like Graham Harrell and the wide receiver for the 49ers played there. Crabtree.
Oh, yeah.
Were they Texas
Well,
Tech guys?
They beat Gophers,
Yep.
yeah.
But that was back in the days of Mike Leach, you know, when they were running
Yeah.
all that stuff up.
Gophers got no chance to beat that.
Don't know
Texas
who's going
Tech,
to coach
I don't
him. They haven't said
Wait a
who's
minute.
coaching him yet.
13-point favorite.
What do you think of Bielema leaving Wisconsin? Nobody saw that one coming. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, he's in Arkansas.
Well, Barry Alvarez got all the money in the world.
Right.
If he wanted to meet,
If it was money.
he could meet it. He wants Paul Chris to be coach.
He's not going to get him. He's already said he's not going to get him.
I don't care what he says. They say a lot of things.
Alvarez said that
He got a $6
Bielema.
million buyout.
Alvarez said that
If he can
Bielema.
come up with this $6 million, Chris will be coaching.
One reason Bielema wanted out is because Barry's so damn cheap he wouldn't pay the assistants.
Bielema went on
They
radio
wouldn't
and
pay the
said
assistants.
his budget for assistants is light years beyond what he was getting at Wisconsin, and he was afraid to go back to Alvarez at the end because he knew that Barry's going to try to talk him into
Well,
staying.
you're wrong about the assistants, because
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm
he
not
didn't-
wrong.
2 years ago, they were all set to go to Miami. It was all set. And they couldn't get the salary for the assistants, and that's why he didn't go.
That they wanted.
Huh?
that they
And
want.
you
What's
were
that
at
got
a
to
No,
do
no,
with
Nothing.
Wisconsin?
It has nothing to.
No,
You were at the luncheon?
Right.
He told us.
Right.
Yeah,
But
well,
that
and
was-
what Bielema
Bielema
says
was
he wanted to
quoted.
go to Arkansas because Barry wouldn't pay the assistants, and he had 6 of them leave last
he
year.
said that on the record on radio.
They didn't leave on account of money. They couldn't
Well-
stand Bielema.
I got to say this: Bielema, for as successful as he has been, and he's been successful, he is not necessarily what you'd call well liked over there, Lavelle.
And he didn't win the big one either. He didn't win a Rose Bowl, did he? Barry
this is
did.
his third one.
I bet Barry had to kick around whether he was going to coach the Rose Bowl for at least 5 seconds.
That's right.
I talk to Barry all the time. And Barry
Oh, you
did
do?
not want to keep this guy. And the minute this guy had a chance to leave, goodbye.
Did you talk to him since this happened or not?
No.
Okay, not yet.
But I know what he thinks of Paul Christ. And that's one thing.
You remember what he told us? He said Chris would have walked here and take the Gopher job. Remember?
He would have taken it.
Yeah, he would have walked here.
Did he tell us they had a chance to go to Miami?
Yeah.
And he couldn't pay the assist?
Yeah. Well, we'll take a break.
Look on our
Taste
library,
of the
I got that
NFL
piece.
Play
looked at all the
60.
banners.
Check it
Are you
out,
kidding
Lavelle.
Yes, sir.
Check this out.
Oh.
Taste of the NFL, and they support the Play 60. And this is, you can see it right there at tasteofnfl.com. Find out a whole bunch more. Wayne Kostrowski, guys, crew, going to the Super Bowl and getting set to go. But the Play 60 has been a great movement in the NFL this year.
Sid knows more about it than me, but in the 40s, when Joe Hutton was there, late 30s through the 40s, into the 50s, the Gophers' toughest recruiting competition was Hamlin.
Yeah,
The
we were
Minnesota-
talking about this during the break.
Minnesota kids would either go to Hamlin or Minnesota, right?
You're right.
Hutton.
Joe Hutton was my first choice for the Laker coach.
Why wouldn't he take it?
We offered him a $5,000 raise, and he wouldn't take us. He wanted to coach Joey.
Joey was his son, and then Vern
Let me tell
Mickelson
you,
came from there, too.
They were big time. They played DePaul in Chicago. They played them all.
NIT. They went. They played in Madison Square Garden.
Now, Lavelle, near as I've got this thing handicapped for the here and
Gophers
now,
wouldn't play him.
the Twins got one okay pitcher from Philadelphia and lost Span and Revere. So the
Right.
team on paper right now is not as good as it was last year.
Well, the pitching is a little bit improved because I think that you can
How?
argue that their starting rotation was terrible last year, and at least this Vance Worley guy may elevate one spot to mediocre, you know.
Okay.
They didn't go in an offseason planning to trade Span and Revere, but they were presented situations
Right, I understand
where-
that.
yeah.
But what do they do now to get to a...
Well, you know, they've got some mid-level guys like Joe Saunders is still out there and Brett Myers. They can sign those guys to prop up the rotation. Terry Ryan still claims that they can compete in 2013, but you look at what they've got built up for, 2015 and 2016, you see what the farm system has. I think a lot of people are focusing on the future
What makes
now.
you sure-
The Twins have to convince the fan base that they are serious
What
about
makes
being
you sure
competitive.
those guys will be good then?
Well, you
I
can't
know.
be sure, Sid, but you got to have some possibilities.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of
Gotta
hope.
have
Will they trade
Hey,
Joe
wait, I
Mauer?
got a question for you. How come the Vikings can rebuild and we salute them? We say, oh, isn't it wonderful to have all these young guys? But the Twins do that, and we're mad at them.
I'm not in favor of the Vikings rebuilding.
Well, they're rebuilding.
Yes, they are.
I'm not in favor of them rebuilding.
Okay.
There you go.
They trade Joe Mauer?